am so excited to introduce basically our keynote of this whole Being in Balance event, Tamara Laing. Tamara Laing is a master rapid eye technician and zero-point meridian practitioner. She's the author of 3 books. Her best-selling book, Healing Arts, A Gift from God, bridges the field of energy medicine, where she quotes prophets and scientists sharing the same truths. She's the founder of Hope for a Better World and teaches deep emotion release, DER workshops on how to release generational issues in the eyes. Tamara is a sought-after, media-rich presenter at holistic events. Relentless truth seeker, she credits God with leading her to energy medicine to help a daughter with bipolar and a son with Lyme disease. Currently, she offers tools and training in bioscalar technology, another name for the universal life-giving energy. So today, Tamara's talking to us about the 4 levels of healing, well, actually 5 levels of healing. And so it coincides really well with my concept of the 4 bodies, 4 medicines. And so I'm going to let her take it away.
Okay, let me share my screen here. So today I'm going to share with you the 5 levels of healing from Dr. Klinghardt. Dr. Dietrich Klinghardt, MD and PhD, stands as a pioneer in combining conventional medical knowledge with alternative therapies to treat chronic illnesses. His approach understands the multifaceted causes of disease. Just a tiny bit about him. He's from Germany, and he was taught herbal medicine, homeopathy, and acupuncture during medical school. And he came across the 5 levels from a lecture by a yogi. He's world-renowned for helping Lyme, autism, neurological issues, chronic pain, and chronic illnesses. And he wrote, I developed this systematic model of healing in the 1980s, and I've been teaching it to practitioners all over the world since then. I love that he's educating other MDs. We need that. So just as a brief introduction to what he teaches, based on a healing model developed 12,000 years ago, it has been the influence of Tibetan medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, and Ayurvedic medicine. And he says, our patients need care on all levels of their existence. It works. People really can recover from their chronic illness, but patients have to shift their way of being in the world on a deep level. So what does he mean by that? Shift our being, our way of being? Your physical body is surrounded and penetrated by 4 other invisible bodies. And he has this model here. And he says, we exist in different dimensions simultaneously. The physical body exists within a sphere of invisible etheric bodies that each have their own anatomy and physiology. And he says there's different laws that you need to know about on each level. Dr. Klinghardt's healing philosophy recognizes that illness is rarely isolated to the physical body alone. So I want to share an incident for those who may be new to these ideas. And this is not the very best science that's out, but I just thought this was a cute little incident to show this to people. Dr. Joey Jones of the University of California in Irvine proved the existence and the effects of subtle energy on and in the human body using one of the most sophisticated scientific tools, the MRI. Dr. Jones found that when the acupuncture point of the toe, known to influence vision, is stimulated, a subtle energy signal is sent to the visual cortex of the brain. And there's more. That signal from the toe to the brain travels 1,000 times faster than a signal sent through the eyes to the brain. Dr. Jones concluded that the information received along acupuncture meridians registers in the brain outside of the physical nerves of the body. Isn't that fascinating? So Dr. Klinghardt says that his model really is a metaphysical translation of actually quantum physics. Fascinating. So I'm just briefly going to show you a chart that he's put together. This was found on lotushappiness.com, and I also share it on langbooks.com if you want to go see it. But we're just going to briefly hit some highlights on these different levels. But here's one of the main points. Health and illness are a reflection of the state of these 5 levels. Any health problem can originate on any of the 5 levels. An imbalance on one level, if untreated, spreads upwards or downward to the other levels. Unless upper level imbalances are addressed, restoring balance at the lower levels will not produce long-lasting effects. Therapeutic intervention at the lower levels has a very slow and little penetrating effect upwards. But if you do an intervention on the third or fourth level, it can correct the block on the second level immediately, within seconds or minutes, Dr. Klinghardt notes. He also teaches that a healing intervention must be either on the level where the illness was created or on one of the levels above. If the practitioner has no tools on the higher levels, he or she will not succeed with many patients. Each level can have blockages which prevent healing impulses from the higher levels to reach the physical world. So it's a wrong assumption that if somebody has back pain, that it is just the pressure of the disc on a nerve. And when you remove the disc, everything will be fine. Most chronic illness has components that go all the way up to the fourth level. I thought that was pretty profound. And that's a new quote that I found. So let's briefly look at these 5 levels. On level 1, the lowest or densest level is the physical body. And Dr. Klinghardt says you cannot treat an illness symptomatically. Of course, that's very lucrative financially because you have to treat a patient every day of their life. So he tells us the primary factors, in fact, there's a list of 7 primary factors contributing to nervous system dysfunction and chronic disease. And on the first level, there are 3 of them. So be aware of chronic infections that produce harmful toxins, and then that structure impacts brain function, whether it's, dental structure or musculoskeletal or some past trauma your body's endured. And then also micronutrient deficiencies. So the way that Dr. Klinghardt deals with this, he says functional medicine stuff is nice and good, but it's not complete. So he has these basic principles that you might want to pay attention to on this first level. He tells people to have a diet based on a scan that he does on you. And then he also tests food sensitivities. And here at our conference, of course, we've got Kathy Wilson who does scans. He suggests that we exercise 20 minutes every other day doing both aerobics, weights, and stretches, which he loves yoga. He says to balance the hormones, he uses herbal and homeopathic drainage remedies because you've, of course, got to open up your detox mechanisms, your drainage mechanisms, so that when you start these detoxes he's going to put you on, that, your body can handle it. He says to pay attention to heavy metal detox and treatment of infections and to supplement the missing minerals. I have never found an MD so positive about kinesiology and the science behind it. So if you want to go check it out, you can go to iHeart.com, a certain podcast number. And he has his own form of muscle testing. He has his own name for it, but I just love that there's an MD giving validation to what we have known and experienced in our field all this time along. Let me give you a little story here. Dr. Klinghardt explains, if a person has a zinc deficiency, supplementing with zinc may correct the problem if it is merely a biochemical disturbance, a first level issue. But if the restriction of blood flow in the brain as a result of sleeping too close to an electrical outlet, which is a second level issue, is behind the deficiency, taking zinc may seem to resolve the problem, but it will return when the person stops taking the supplement. Simply moving the bed away from the outlet will stop the electromagnetic interference and prevent the recurrence of a zinc deficiency. And that introduces us right into level 2 because that is a level 2 issue. He teaches, you do not exist through biochemistry alone. What we deal with in health and illness is physics. Your body creates energy fields and light emissions that are in the quantum range. Your energy body helps regulate your physical body. The second level is the energy body, or body electric, as he calls it. Each cell emits biophotons, or light, which is highly coherent. We'll just leave it at that for this presentation here today. Now, the primary factors that are contributing to issues on this level are interference fields. That can be surgical scars that disrupt your nervous system signaling. I'm sure Marlies Hyde is just ecstatic to hear that this is being discussed because, of course, she uses microcurrent to take out the interference in our bodies where we've had scars and things. The other problem on this level is electromagnetic fields. Wi-Fi, 5G, and electrical pollution cause cellular stress. Fascinating to have an MD saying that is the case. The biophoton field created by the light emissions around the body regulates most metabolic enzymes inside the cells. It does so much. It modulates neural transmission, neurotransmitter releases, detoxification, and many other body functions. That's why it's so important to have the proper signaling going through our bodies. The biophoton field is part of the electromagnetic system around your body. Your brain is but a receiver that tunes into the memory storage in this field. That is so important. And I've got a little story to share with you about that. A patient came, well, actually it was the daughter that came to Dr. Klinghardt, brought her father, who was a patient with Alzheimer's. He'd already lost 40% of his brain, and he hadn't spoken in 8 years. But this daughter asked Dr. Klinghardt to put her dad under hypnosis. And for 2 hours, her dad woke up and talked with the daughter. And he gave an accurate account of all that had happened to him throughout his life, even though he did not have the part of his brain for this. And so Dr. Klinghardt postulated that the brain is a receiver that attunes to the storage in the light field. And this is one of the things that helped him to learn. It's also really great that he was good friends with Fritz Albert Popp, the world expert on biophotons, who proved that biophotons originate from your DNA. So Dr. Klinghardt teaches you are surrounded by a highly structured light field, which is the carrier of long-term memory. All right, let's go to the third level now. Memory, thinking, and the mind are all phenomena outside the physical body. They are not happening in the brain. The mental part of your body is an energetic field. So level 3, he says, I call the mental body or mental field, and beliefs, attitudes, and thoughts form and organize this level. Now, the factors that contribute to dysfunction and disease are unresolved emotional trauma that weakens vitality. Well, that's a basic thing we all know if you work in this field, but possibly could be new for some people. So he suggests that you work with therapists for unresolved conflicts on the mental level and to replace limiting beliefs with liberating beliefs. And he doesn't just address the beliefs of his patients. He also addresses, well, what does their spouse believe? What do their other doctors believe? And he helps you work through all the people that are in your world influencing you. He speaks of Sheldrake. There's an individual mental field and a consensus field. Rupert Sheldrake has named this level morphic field. Every idea or thought ever thought goes into this field and becomes part of an invisible library that can be accessed by anyone. And I've heard Cristine talk about this invisible library when she speaks of her frequency formulas. I'm sure we'll hear more about that. Well, if there's a story you can read about, Dr. Thomas Lucky, MD, mentions Dr. Klinghardt in the beginning of his book and that he's learned so much from him. And I love the stories he has in his book, Unleashing the Healing Miracle Within. Dr. Lucky shared a story about a woman who came to him for help, and she blamed herself for her son not speaking. So Dr. Lucky said, well, let's get rid of that belief. And he helped the woman to clear that belief. She cleared the belief and nothing really changed. But then she mentioned in the appointment how she had recently been diagnosed with scoliosis. And so Dr. Klinghardt just gently with touch ran his finger down her spine, and the woman felt something move. They took x-rays, and sure enough, her spine had shifted to a lot more correct. You can read this story in this book, but it just shows us when the woman, how was her back aligned? When she got over blaming herself for her son's delayed speech or speech development, her back not only aligned, but her son started talking that very day, even though he was over 200 miles away. So we see here from the story that our beliefs that are not serving us can also hinder other people in our world. Really important thing to realize. Dr. Klinghardt teaches if you actually find the origin of the illness and intervene on that level, you succeed in that the illness goes away. And I like Dr. Lucky's explanation here. You have to realize that there are different levels to the spirit, and each of these has its own needs and treatments. He's speaking my language there. I love that. So level 4. The fourth level is a level beyond the mind and beyond language. I call this level the dream body or intuitive body. And he explains that this is the home of near-death experiences, spirit possession, karma, and the expression of unresolved transgenerational family issues. In the Bible, that's referred to as, curses of the fathers to the third and fourth generation. Well, the issues that contribute to nervous system dysfunction and chronic disease on the fourth level are these family lineage traumas and unseen spiritual forces that impact our health. If you don't know what that's talking about, he explains unresolved trauma does not appear to go away with death, but plays out in a variety of ways in later generations. Often unresolved trauma from previous generations becomes the source and the causative event of illness in later generations. Most people overlook this and can never help their patients. People try to treat them psychologically on the third level, and it cannot work. This is not the right level. Similarly, focusing on the biochemistry is not going to fix the problem when the source is at the fourth level. And here's a little miniature chart of his chart I put together. Unless upper level imbalances are addressed, restoring balance at the lower levels will not produce long-lasting effects. And I like that on his bigger chart, he includes where a level is working on the level of physics, where it's working on the level of quantum physics, and the fourth level that we're speaking of here is the quantum physics level. Okay, so level 5. The highest level involves the patient's individual spiritual connection, which Klinghardt respects as deeply personal and private. Fifth level healing techniques would include self-healing, prayer, true meditation, chanting. And the doctor says, create time and space to be alone. Turn inwards and upwards with an attitude of gratefulness. Love that we're going to be talking about gratefulness in this event we have going from Cristine. Laws operative here are gradually revealed to us as we mature. Well, there is another doctor that would agree with this. Have you heard of Dr. Sandra Rose Michael? She invented a room full of scalar light using technology. And she says, we make no medical claims. The power that made the body heals the body. It's a hyper healthy, energetic environment that we've made. It is spiritual science. I agree with her. On this level, you really can have spiritual science. There's another doctor that gives us evidence of this. Here's a picture from a chart from my second book. And it's from Dr. West, and he says, working with scientists in laboratories in New Mexico, it became clear that the longer the wavelength, the more powerful it is. The longest wavelength measurable is called the boson. I don't know how to pronounce it. 0 point is at the top of the pyramid, showing the descending order of power all the way down to the structural level. This illustrates why therapies using the wavelengths higher up the pyramid, like energy work, prayer, and sound healing, so often produce results superior to those at the bottom of the pyramid, where surgery and biochemical therapies reside. Well, what fascinates me, I never knew what we could put on the chart that would affect the 0 point energy up there, but Sandra Rose Michael, who's a doctor, says that scalar technology creates a 0 point field. So that is what we can use to affect the very highest point of this pyramid here, showing all these different modalities. And look how powerful your own thoughts and your own breathing are. This just goes right along with what Dr. Klinghardt teaches about the fifth level. So Sandra Rose Michael says it creates a 0 point technology, and it creates a nullification of all detrimental and destructive fields. Her technology is very powerful, and I'm really impressed. Dr. Klinghardt said, I started using more tools that work with light. So I want to give you one quick quote about scalar light. This is from Dr. John Hachey. He says, it is well known from biological laboratory experiments that if you blast a cell with UV light so that 90% of the cell is destroyed, including its DNA is destroyed, you can almost entirely repair the damage in a single day just by illuminating the cell with the same wavelength at a much weaker intensity. To this day, scientists don't understand this phenomenon, but no one has disputed it. This implies that regardless of how damaged something is, scalar waves may have the ability to bring it back. Well, that's fascinating to me. So to sum up this portion of my presentation, Dr. Klinghardt explains, this model, his 5 levels, has already entered the heart and consensus reality of integrative medicine worldwide. However, very few practitioners offer practical solutions as a natural and regular part of their consultation or treatment protocol. Well, Dr. Klinghardt does. So I'll end this section with his 3 practical steps for well-being, because I noticed we advertised this event as offering you practical solutions. So here you go. This is what the doctor tells us. Number 1, this is interesting. He listed it first. Don't rest until there is love and respect between everybody in your generation and the 2 before you. That's the level 4, the generational healing level. That's so powerful. His second suggestion, pump as much, it's supposed to say energy. Pump as much energy as possible into the lower 3 levels. Eat right, sleep right, exercise and take your vitamins. Nurture your body electric, your energy body, with massage, acupuncture, neural therapy, time in nature, and doing your yoga stretches, he says. See a therapist to work through confusion and unresolved conflicts on the mental level, the 3rd level, and turn inward to investigate the spiritual level humbly and gratefully. Create time and space for alone time to do this. So in conclusion, he says we can affect healing on many levels. I hope this chart is valuable in understanding what holistic medicine is. It is kind of a roadmap of healing techniques. So you can see that chart on langbooks.com if you'd like to. It's on LAINGbooks.com under the FAQ section. And then to continue on with our scalar learning, I'd like to teach you this next section. It's called Change Your Life with Bioscalar. Energy medicine is a fast-growing field in the healthcare industry, and one area of energy medicine demanding much attention is scalar wave technology. Healing technology systems are emerging that can generate scalar waves to intelligently interface with one's living biointeractive fields. So interesting that Sandra Rose Michaels was doing meditation work, and she was given this download to take her energy work she had been doing and to have it so that a computer would do that. At first she thought, what? She didn't even allow TVs in her home. She didn't want her children to be around television or computers or anything like that. So it was pretty funny. But in the end, she explains, it's not the technology that heals you. It creates an environment for your body to heal itself. Scalar can significantly increase your energy, mental clarity, enhanced health, and overall well-being. She says it helps trigger, activate, and mobilize the body's stem cells, which is our natural way of healing. I'm blessed that I have seen anything and everything completely healed, she said. And I was introduced to her invention by watching the YouTube video, The Revolution of Healing. I shared it with a friend, and she said that was jaw-dropping. Now, I had to take pieces of it with a grain of salt, but overall, I loved what I learned from watching that introduction to this new way of healing with these scalar waves. This doctor, Victor Marcial Vega, says people with kidney stones pass them painlessly after being in the EES, the energy enhancement system that she invented. It improved my vision so much that my contact prescription went down. Chronic, permanent injuries were able to start moving normally. I've seen people with strokes healed. All types of healing can occur. And on that YouTube video, they shared all kinds of stories. Just fascinating stories, right, Christy? It was amazing.
Yes,
Uh,
good stuff.
yes, it was fascinating. We've seen people have incredible turnarounds in virtually all types of ailments, showing the power that the body has to heal itself. Anywhere from cancer, heart disease, depression, allergies, digestion, inflammation, pain relief, vision impairment, and even autism. The list goes on and on. I was really floored by that vision impairment improving. I mean, I've been in the healthcare industry, alternative healthcare, for over 20 years, and I had never heard testimonials like this, so it really got my attention. And then Dr. Sandra Rose Michael said, but don't just believe what we're telling you. You can go to our website and you can check out all the, the research and the things we have there. And so that's what I did, because I loved research, right? I wanted to know if there was any science on this stuff. And I found some fascinating things. Dr. Marcial Vega, MD, said, I measured the blood composition of my patients by red cell analysis before and after they went into the scalar chamber. I found that every single person showed an increase in the toxins in the blood immediately after treatment, but the blood was more fluid. So somehow the healing chamber was stimulating the tissues to dump the toxins into the blood, and the blood became more fluid in order to get the toxins out of the body. The toxins disappeared after a few days. So the chamber was cleaning the system, the person's bodily system. My patients were sleeping better. They had better skin and felt more energized. Of all the technologies that I've recently researched, this is one of the most powerful detoxifiers that I've encountered. Well, I loved hearing that. And then I also learned that the basic premise to this technology is that all life is energy. Every cell is a mini battery. Every nerve is an electric current, and death is defined as absence of electrical energy in your brain. So the EES can raise the energy level of every cell in the body to its optimum level, which is 70 to 90 millivolts within a 2-hour therapy session. And this Dr. James DeBoer says, this is the most extraordinary technology I've seen in 20 years of practice as an alternative healthcare doctor. The results which have been obtained with this therapy are quite frankly miraculous. So to further that, they also explained that this EE system is like a wireless human battery charger. It's really how you plug the body into the healthy cell voltage. It supports the body and consciousness in healing. What fascinated me was that you don't do anything but lay there. You go in the room, you lay in a maybe a zero gravity chair and try to take a nap, but nothing touches you. Doesn't that sound like that is working on the spiritual quantum level? It is. Life-enhancing scalar waves allow cell regeneration, improve immune function, provide relief from pain, detoxify the body, elevate moods, and assist in balancing right and left hemispheres of the brain to increase energy levels. I loved that it wasn't just testimonials about the body. It was also mental help. I was fascinated to hear strokes with 100% paralysis have come back. And I kept that in my mind. I just thought, wow, I'm going to remember that. One of the incidents that was shared, I've always remembered too, and it was about this veteran. He needed bilateral knee replacement surgery because it was bone on bone in his knees. The cartilage was gone. He's in excruciating pain, and he realized in the first week that the cube was in. The cube is the small home unit that they sell. Well, he noticed that first week that he didn't have any more pain, and he canceled his knee surgery, and he squats 475 pounds on those bad knees. There are all kinds of crazy stories Dr. Sandra Rose Michael shared. So I'd like to share a more personal story. This is from my daughter. She said, I went into anaphylactic shock again. It was so severe I blacked out in the ambulance. When released from the emergency room, I was struggling to recover. I went to an EES for the first time. I was blown away that my brain could think more clearly. I took her to the Renew Wellness Center in Bountiful, Utah, and she said, in 1 hour, I had more strength, regained feeling in my hands, arms, legs, and feet. I could walk faster and had energy. The next day, I had another hour session. 2 days later, I didn't need my cane anymore. So, love that. Well, Then in the, what summer was it? I think it was the summer of 2022, my daughter had a mini stroke. And I had been thinking, oh, I really wish I had one of those EES systems in my home. You know, that cube is the home unit, but it was like $27,000 and it just didn't fit my budget. So I was listening to a podcast one day, and the men on the podcast were talking about this 𝐼TeraCare device. And they said they've miniaturized the ability to have a quantum scalar generator. Well, I'd been studying what scalar was about, so I got super excited. I thought, what? They've miniaturized it and it's more affordable? So I bought one, sight unseen. Never tried it, didn't know what it really looked like, just bought it. And I was fascinated when it came, looking into more about this 𝐼TeraCare, that it goes 8 to 11 inches inside the body. I was fascinated by that. How does something go inside of you to reach, you know, organs and things inside of you? So my daughter wrote, "Thank you, 𝐼TeraCare, for changing my life. It definitely helped her." Another person that I have sold an 𝐼TeraCare to wrote this: "I was diagnosed with something." We're not allowed to give you the words. She said, "I decided to include 𝐼TeraCare in my daily routine. After 2 weeks, I experienced a significant drop in my blood sugar level. 𝐼TeraCare has helped my body to do what it naturally wants to do, heal. I've not taken any insulin or other oral medication in the past 3 months, and my A1C is exactly the same. Thank you for sharing this tool with me." Well, does that make you wonder about scalar? What is scalar energy anyway?
It does. I have to interject there because that condition you were just talking about, we would be told to to tell people to bring their, their blood sugar devices, so they could check their blood sugar when they were in an EES. So because it will affect it so quickly. Yeah.
Yes. It's amazing. All right, so let's just learn a few things about scalar energy. It's fascinating to me. Scalar waves travel faster than the speed of light and do not decay over time or distance. Scalar waves are also called Tesla waves. I bet you've heard of him before. So these scalar waves are not electromagnetic. They're not measured in hertz. They're in a class by themselves. It's something totally different. We have to get that into our minds. Scalar energy is different from standard Hertzian electromagnetic fields in a number of important ways. It's more field-like than wave-like. It tends to fill its environment. It's capable of passing through solid objects with no loss of intensity. It implants its signature on solid objects. All electric fields can implant their signatures on objects, but not to the degree that scalar energy can. And this fourth point, scalar energy can regenerate and repair itself indefinitely. That's amazing. You can take it through the airport scanner, your supplements that are scalar infused. They will go down, but they will come back up later. Isn't that fascinating?
That's fascinating, for sure.
Scalar waves are nonlinear, non-Hertzian waves that have the ability to carry information. So why is that so important? Well, disease is in a sense scrambled information, and we can access the appropriate information. That's what a number of those new energy modalities are doing. They are basically correcting that information scrambling. Cell researchers Bob Becker and Dr. Nordenstrom said, "We're only as healthy as the health of our cells and their ability to communicate with each other. Cell health can be determined by the electrical cell membrane voltage." And you can see as the numbers lower, your body experiences more and more trouble. And so you do want like a minus 70 millivolt is the best. So if I was to teach you one thing today, it's that voltage is everything. You've got to understand how important that is. If you have an unhealthy cell, only some nutrients are getting in, and it's hard to detox. If you have a healthy cell, the right cell membrane voltage, it's soft and permeable, nutrients get in, waste gets out, and you're healthier. So about 𝐟₂ they say if people knew how low voltage affects their health, they would recharge their bodies as often as their phones. How often do you recharge your phone, Cindy? Or Cristine, sorry.
Every day, right?
You're
Every
right, me too. So we need to recharge the cells in our body. Also, you know, it's funny to me that when I first saw this thing, I thought, what could that possibly be doing? It looks like a blow dryer. It sounds like a blow dryer. And no pun intended, but I blew it off for 3 months thinking, there's no way. This can't do anything. I'm glad I changed my mind. So my mind, just being a type 2 personality of Carol Tuttle's, types, I want to know all the answers. How does it work? So Dr. Sandra Rose Michael shared this. This 0-point toroidal configuration shows the body's natural scalar vortex. This vortex represents how energy flows, which is both upward from the earth into the root and downward from the sky into the crown simultaneously. And then what she told an interviewer is totally fascinating to me. He asked, how does it work? And she said, well, it's activating the light at the core of the DNA, the light within us. We are bodies of light. It is about that embodiment of our light, and that's what heals us. It's your light force energy or life force energy. Mitochondria are the power plants of the cells, your ATP production. The EES quadrupled mitochondrial activity. That's your nerve cell regeneration. It's your energy production in the cells. The body has the energy to heal. Now, this is our recorded portion of my talk on Scalar, so you won't be able to experience it in person with us here, but I thought I would give our online guests this QR code so that they can check out this online YouTube video of an EE system transmission. And Dr. Sandra Rose Michael says, although this transmission may positively impact your life, it does not have the same effect of physically being in the same room as the technology, but at least perhaps you can get a taste of it. I remember watching this when it, came out. The first day it came out, I had 3 people in my family sitting on the couch with me, and I was yawning, and I knew things were shifting in my body because I yawn when I release things and energy shifts. So I just thought that was pretty interesting.
That is really cool. I know that the screens, does it play the, like, the rotating or the,
Yes.
yeah.
It was a transmission of an actual cube and what it was putting out. You know what's even more fascinating? They told on the second Revolution of Healing recording that they did, how some people asked questions of them afterwards about, hey, could that have affected me when I watched that on the screen at home? Because now I don't have this and I don't have that. So some people did have marvelous experiences watching the transmission.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that goes back to Dr. Klinghart's 5 levels. He talks about how at the 3rd level, you can start having long distance work. And of course, at the 4th level. So yeah.
Well, there is a certain amount of photonic activity just from the screens and subconscious 4th level stuff from what each line says, because they're basically really powerful affirmations. So yeah.
Yes. Yes. And our own beliefs play into that too. Well, I just thought I'd share with you real quick something my husband said the very first time he tried the EES system. He said, I was pleased to feel a combination of the light of Christ and the Holy Ghost while enjoying the EE system. I knew immediately that the light, scalar waves, and energy was beneficial and good. I experienced multitudes of many waves of energy coursing through my fingers, hands, and arms. It was invigorating. And that is the Google review my husband left on renewenergy.com. Makes me smile. So let's look at the other half of the equation. So how does this work according to what a medical doctor says about the 𝐟₂? It's about the same thing. He says, this is Dr. Thomas Lucky, MD, I have a list of 100 people this machine has eradicated their need for any kind of medication at all. And all it is we are light. We are absorbing light. We are emitting light. That sounds pretty much like the same answer from Dr. Sandra Rose Michaels. How does this 𝐼 work? There's a specially formulated crystal tube from over 100 minerals and rare earth elements, and it's patented and helps produce terahertz and scalar energy, the energy of life. And what really surprised me and caught my attention was that scientists around the world are calling what comes out of these 𝐼 devices the wave of life, light of life, God's waveband. I agree, Christy, when you're on the spiritual level, that fifth level, it's quantum. And our spirits are quantum. It just all makes sense to me. So what do doctors say? Here is what John Haucher says about, he wrote a book about scalar waves. At the baseline, we can expect scalar therapy to increase the energy level of every single nutrient to its ideal point, facilitate the intake of nutrients into each and every cell, and the elimination of waste from each and every cell, to cleanse the blood of toxins, to improve immunity function by as much as 149%, improve mental focus, and balance the hemispheres of the brain, and function as an antidepressant. That's at the baseline, what you can expect. Dr. Oz says there's a revolutionary cure for pain that few doctors know about because it's not a new pill or surgery. It's energy waves that change the way your body copes with pain. A person said, I was treated by a spine specialist for years after an auto accident. I was receiving trigger point injections. Imagine how shocked I was when the 𝐼 scalar device alleviated a lot of very severe pain. My pain level goes from 10 to 2 in minutes. Hippocrates says if there's a way to heat the bones, then all disease can be treated. Fascinating that scalar waves and terahertz frequencies can go 8 to 11 inches inside the body to reach your bone marrow, activate stem cells, doing so much good. Now, what else does it do? Real briefly here, it structures water. What the water molecule does is it allows it to take nutrients in and get rid of toxins. So it allows what is abnormal to become normal. This is my dad. And at age 83, he wrote me this about using the 𝐼 device I gave him. He said, my energy level has increased. My mind is a lot clearer. No mixed up feelings, just from drinking the 𝐼 structured water. The water has done such a wonder on me. And it's so easy to structure water with this device. All you do is point it through glass and it imprints very quickly on water. Other people use the 𝐼 on their pets or their plants. Dogs and cats that are definitely afraid of a blow dryer will stand there, turn around, let you wand both sides of their bodies. It's really quite interesting, you know. Dogs are not subject to the placebo effect. You can tell what's real. So here I'm summing up here. That device has really changed my practice, says Dr. Thomas Lucky. That one is more powerful than any of them. And he has a whole room full of devices, by the way. It's a device, he says, that will change the world. If this was a medical device, it would be $5 million. Well, lucky for us, it isn't a medical device. It's affordable. 𝐼 is a scalar and terahertz device, portable and affordable. It is enabling you to put the power of healing into your own hands naturally. And anytime I teach a class like this, I'm required to put up this disclaimer. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Terahertz wand devices are not classified as medical devices and should never be substituted for getting professional medical advice for any conditions. And I am an independent business owner with Price. Now, the one thing that people always ask me after a class like this, can it help me with this? Can it help me with that? Here's your answer. If you go online to the Frequency Wand testimonial group on Facebook and use that little search feature down there that looks like a little magnifying glass, you can search whatever it is that is of concern to your family and find out what people are saying from all around the world. I'll end this class by using the same picture I started with. Bambi in Utah said, thank you so much, 𝐼 for changing my life. I was diagnosed with various debilitating autoimmune disorders. There are no words to describe how excruciating the pain and misery. The wand is affordable, easily accessible, and can be used to help so many different symptoms and discomfort. So my challenge to you is to go ahead and search whatever it is. here on this QR code, or you can just go to Frequency One Testimonials group. Or if you'd rather, you can go to langbooks.com and see what I have there. I have a short PowerPoint if you want to share that with your significant other or whatever. But I appreciate you allowing me to be here, Christy.
Yes. Oh,
Here are, yes, I did add a slide about my books. This is my last slide, by the way. My first 2 books are sold on Amazon. All of them are sold on my website, langbooks.com. And I do have a best-selling book, my first book, getting pretty close on the second one. And I also have workshops on my website, along with that 𝐼TeraCare portable scalar device.
awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I remember when your books came out. We do go back a ways. And
We do
I
go back.
remember before it was a book and it was a slideshow. And there's how
Right.
many color slides in Healing Arts, A Gift from God?
Almost 500 illustrated quotes are in there.
And it's what inspired me to learn more about quantum science and eventually start my training with Quantum University. So you're definitely an inspiration to me, and I'm glad we're still on the same wavelength, literally.
Yes, literally.
And it was so fun when I discovered Scalar Bioscalar because of Todd, and then you had already found it separately. So we both found it, and it just confirmed like this is a thing. And I remember it was a healing conference that he was walking by the room you were in, and he could feel it from the 𝐼TeraCare. And
Yes.
so good stuff.
Oh, fascinating.
All good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you for your work in the world. It's important.
Oh, and yours. I'm so glad we work together on the
Me
same
too.
side. All right. Thanks. And we'll do more, I'm sure.